So for view A, we need the following pieces. Number 1, the front, number 2, the back, and number 3, the ruffle. Cutting a large in this beautiful rose gold brocade fabric. The layout is this. So we need number 1, which is the front. We need 2 left and 2 right. So that's where you right side up the pattern here on 1 and wrong side up here for pattern 1. So you end up with 4 pieces. Then we need 2 pieces cut on the fold for piece number 2, which is the back, and then 1 cut for the ruffle, which is number 3. I'm doing view A for Vogue 1991, and for this view A, step 1 is with right sides together, stitch front to back at shoulder seams. I'm going to be using a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So here it is. I cut it out. I have the pieces pinned. So the 2 fronts are pinned to the back. I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew this. Step 2 is the ruffle around the neckline. With wrong sides together, fold ruffle in half lengthwise, gather raw edges. So I cut this big long strip. It's really long. I'm going to gather it now. I have the 2 front pieces sewed to the back, and I press the seams open. I'm fitting it on the dress form, and now I'm going to measure around the neckline for the collar because my gathering is not really gathering. It's very difficult, so I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to pleat it all the way around to fit the collar and then sew it on. This is how it gathered. I tried it on the serger. I also tried it on the sewing machine, and it's not gathered enough. So I'm just going to measure around that collar and then pleat this to fit the collar and then sew it on. I could not successfully gather this. So what I did was I pinned it. I just pinched pin all the way around. It measures 28 inches because that's the circumference of the collar. And now I'm going to just sew these pleats down, or whatever you want to call them, gathers, and then sew them to the wrap. Step 3, on outside, pin ruffle to neck edge, matching notches, large dots, and small dots to shoulder seams. Adjust gathers to fit and baste. So I'm going to go ahead and baste it on. So this is the collar that I sewed up here. I measured it out. It's 28 inches around, and now I'm going to baste it to the wrap neckline. So I basted the collar to the wrap here, and now we're going to go to step 4, which is stitch shoulder seams of front and back facing sections, leaving an opening large enough for turning. Okay, I pinned the front to the back, and now I'm going to sew along the shoulders and leave that opening. I completed step 4, and I forgot to mention to clip your curves and press the seams open at each step. Now we're at step 5. With right sides together, pin the facing to wrap over the ruffle, matching seams and centers, stitch outer edge, and trim the seam. This jacquard fabric frays, so I'm serging the bottom before I attach it and finish it off. So I did step 5, and with the right sides together I sewed them, and now through this opening here I'm going to turn it right side out. So for step 6, after you turn the wrap right side out, you press it and slip stitch the opening closed, which I did. We're at the last step, step 7. On inside, sew hook and eyes to center front at markings, which I did. Here's the final wrap, and here's the hook and eye right there, inside there. Beautiful. The nice ruffle all the way around. Came out wonderful. It's stiff enough that I did not need to interface it. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Absolutely gorgeous. I pressed it And let me turn her around here, show you the back. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed this. I think it looks wonderful.